If you manage a commercial building, at some point you're going to have to hire a window cleaning contractor. And on paper, most quotes look identical. Similar price, similar promises, the same fully insured, fully trained line on every website. But I've seen what happens when the wrong contractor gets hired. Missed schedules, safety incidences happen, tenants and residents complain, and the property manager left scrambling to find a replacement with no notice. So today I'm going to give you 7 questions to ask before you sign anything. These are the questions that separate a safe, reliable contractor from one that's going to cause you problems 6 months down the line. Let's get into it. Imagine you're about to jump out of a plane. Right before you go, you ask your instructor, how do we know the parachute is actually going to open? He shrugs and says, it usually does. Now, would you jump out of that plane? I doubt it. Because usually isn't good enough, not at 10,000 feet. But that's basically the answer a lot of property managers accept when they hire a contractor for a high risk job. No real risk assessment, no clear safety process, just a vague, don't worry, we've done this before. And at 30 stories up, usually fine is not a safety plan. Which brings me to question 1. So, question 1, can I see your RAMs, please? Now, RAMs stands for Risk Assessment and Method Statement, and this is usually your first filter. You ask for the RAMs, the public liability insurance, the employer's liability insurance, and of course the training records and the certifications, and their working at height procedures. Because here's what matters. If something goes wrong in your building, the paperwork is what proves the work has been planned properly. And, more importantly, it covers your back. A good contractor will send it over without you having to chase. So this should be sent before the work has begun. And if you have to ask 3 times, that's usually telling you everything you need to know about the contractor and what it's going to be like ongoing. Question 2. Who is my direct point of contact and how fast do they respond? You're likely going to be working with this company for years, so you want to ask, who is my direct point of contact and how fast do they respond? Most of the frustration I hear from property managers isn't about the cleaning. It's actually about the time spent chasing. Good communication saves you hours that you will never get back and also builds the great foundation for a very good working relationship. Question 3. How do you handle disruption to residents and building users? Residents and building users, as we know, complain pretty fast if the cleaning gets in the way of their day. So you want to ask, what's their plan for an occupied building? The noise, the access notice, the periods, the parking. What you're listening for is the specifics. A real answer sounds like, we notify residents at least 7 days ahead, and we're working within these hours. A weak answer sounds like, yeah, we're always careful. Question 4. What happens if there's damage during the clean? I'm doing glass, cladding, and fixtures, as we know, are very expensive to put right, especially nowadays. A professional contractor has proper liability cover and a documented resolution process, so listen for the confidence here. Hesitation on this one is usually a red flag because it means they've either never had to deal with it properly or they have and it didn't go very well. Question 5. How do you handle reactive work, not just scheduled cleans? Because we work outside, weather plays a major part, obviously. So do many other interruptions. We're talking high winds, storms, construction dust, bird's mess, a burst pipe running down a facade, and none of this, of course, waits for the next scheduled visit. So you need a partner who can mobilise quickly. What you're listening for is realistic response times, because anyone promising same day anywhere in London is just pretty much telling you what you want to hear. Question 6. Can you give me references for similar buildings? This is a big one, especially in today's society where people really love to see reviews, because it gives you a good understanding of how that company has performed in the past. And on a building like yours, that can be the best predictor you've got. A 12-storey residential block with a BMU is completely different to a 2-storey office being cleaned by, let's say, water-fed pole. So ask for the references that you can actually ring, not just the testimonials on the website. Question 7. What documentation do I get after every visit? Now this one tells you how the contractor handles accountability, I find, in most cases. You need a paper trail, so completion reports backed up by photos and site notes and the job signed off are usually the sort of things that you should be seeing. And that's for compliance and of course budgeting, but also proof to your own stakeholders that the maintenance clean has actually happened. The red flag on this one is simple. If the only thing you get after a visit is an invoice, you're not being given a service, you're just being sent a bill. So those are the 7 questions to ask before hiring your next window cleaning contractor. Ask them before you sign, not just after the first time something goes wrong. And if this was useful, there's one more thing on your building that you should check, and most people I speak to don't even know it exists. Every anchor point on your roof has a testing interval, and depending on how it's used, that's either a 6 or 12 months cycle. Now, most buildings I visit have actually missed it. I've made a video on exactly that and what happens when it hasn't been done. It's on the screen now, so I suggest you go and watch it.